Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Sportscast. As you can tell, my squirrely buddy over there, Todd Corley's raring to go. He can't hold back. We'll just dive right in.
Positively giddy.
No use in wasting time. We'll just jump right in. How you doing, bud?
Sad, melancholy. I'm just kidding. I'm a jovial individual.
That's what you want to say. All right, buddy. So let's jump right in. There's a lot of stuff that transpired since the last one. Breaking down some Week 6 action.
Let's hit it, baby. Let's start with the Thursday night kickoff between the Commanders and the Bears.
Do we have to cover that?
No, we're not obligated by anybody. We run this show. There's a lot of field goals, I think. I don't know. Kyle Orton didn't do so well with the Bears.
Cutler probably threw a few picks, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's that then. Moving on.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a fun one. So basically what the talk is now, you got the teams at this point now where, Week 6 going into Week 7, teams are starting to kind of separate themselves. You get the bottom feeders like we'll talk later about Carolina and Houston and Jacksonville. And then you got the teams like Philadelphia that just still undefeated. And then you have a lot of middle ground. You have a lot of 3-3 teams, which all those 3-3 teams were actually playoff favorites. Whether they get there or not, I don't know. But you got Rams, Bucks, Packers, all sitting at 3-3. I think are the 49ers, are they 3-3?
Well, they were until tonight's events.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I'll tell you what, all those teams, they look disgusting right now. Like they're so inconsistent from week to week, and they're just not playing up to the standards we're used to. I mean, man, Aaron Rodgers he's struggling a lot. The offensive line is horrible. He's getting hit multiple times every play, it seems like. He can't, the receivers can't catch. They're dropping stuff left and right. They can't get the run game going because everyone knows they don't have receivers, so they're stacking the box. And then when you get down big like they did this past week, you gotta start throwing to catch up, and it's not working. Tom Brady looks like he should have stayed retired. Like that team is not. It's a shell of what it was before. The Rams. Stafford.
Tom Brady had his dancing shoes on. Okay.
Yeah.
He had a wedding to go to. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Him and Kraft.
The guy signed his paychecks for like 28 years.
Yeah, many years. Yeah. I guess he owed him. But then you have Stafford, who we covered in previous episodes. Looks like the previous Detroit Stafford version. I mean, these teams are supposedly at the beginning of the year were picked as playoff favorites. And
I didn't pick them.
Not you.
Well, I didn't pick the Rams. Let's go back.
I thought
I picked the Buccaneers, which, by the way, they're at the top of their division. So I don't want to hear about it because the Buccaneers are going to win. Listen, the road to the NFC Championship goes through Tampa Bay. Don't you ever,
we'll see about that later. We'll see about that later. Given the news now, we'll see.
It's funny. It's funny because if you go back to our first episode. Who called? There were two teams that came out of my mouth for the NFC Championship. One of which wasn't the fucking Giants. If you say the Giants, Garrett, I swear to God, you pigeonhole me every episode on here. All 19 of our listeners. God, I wish there were 19.
You said
all of our listeners.
I
understand.
I thought you said it was Falcons, Panthers, and Giants as the last standing three. I thought that's what you said. Is that not? No? Since this isn't a visual medium, I'm getting a death stare right now. Needless to say, all those 3-3 teams, I think we can agree they look completely out of sync.
Bucks Niners. I said it. Bucks Niners.
Is that before or after tonight?
Episode 1.
So who do you think is going to be the weakest link out of these 3-3 teams?
What are the choices?
I mean, Bucks, Rams, Packers. I'm not sure if there's another 3-3 one off the top of my head.
Packers,
by
Bucks,
default,
Niners, Rams, Seahawks.
Seahawks are.
What do you mean? Did you forget about Sir Geno Smith? He was recently knighted by the Queen of England. Wait, is there a Queen of England?
You mean
It doesn't fucking matter, Jared, because guess what? The San Francisco 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be playing in the NFC Championship.
the
Mark it.
problem is,
Mark
I
it
look at
down.
it this way: 3 of those teams are in different divisions, and then you have the Niners and the Seahawks in the same division. So obviously, the Niners are the better team. Seattle's
Nobody
not going to
gives
get by 'em.
nobody gives a shit about the Packers except for you. The
And
Bucks.
trust me. There's plenty of people out there in the media because Rodgers gets plenty of
Nobody cares.
airtime. He gets plenty of
Yeah.
airtime for stuff off the field. So they love to drag him.
Yeah,
I-
but they're trash. So the Falcons are hard.
Trust me, as a
they're hot
Packers
garbage.
fan, I'm not disagreeing. They look like
Rams
trash
are
right
shit.
now.
The Rams may have. Wait, did the Rams win the Super Bowl last year? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Matt Stafford watched a photographer walk off the fucking stage backwards and break his femur. He doesn't. They don't matter. What matters is Tom Brady's getting rid of that 150 pounds of dead weight called Giselle Bundchen. We've talked about it. I've lamented about it. He's a better man for it. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now. Listen, breaking news. You heard it here 30-second because you probably have like 18 sports apps on your phone if you're listening to this fucking podcast. Christian McCaffrey was traded tonight to the San Francisco 49ers, and I called back when they were stuck with Deebo Samuel as their only offensive weapon. The Niners and the Bucks in the NFC Championship. That's happening. Tom Brady is, I don't know by my count, the number 1 owner of Super Bowl rings in the world. Unless you count Putin, because I think he's got a few himself, actually.
He's undefeated.
But they're all crafts, so it doesn't matter. They're all the same. So it's going to be the Bucks Niners. I don't know who's going to win. I'll talk to my oracle later.
So going that route with obviously him getting traded, McCaffrey getting traded to San Fran, what do you think they do with Deebo? Do you think they make him a pseudo receiver, or do you think they still use him as a
are you kidding me?
change of pace? Like, what do you think they do with him now that
No.
they have McCaffrey?
No, you line them both up. You have them both in the backfield. Listen, if you thought keeping number 19 contained was hard, yeah, you wait till White Chocolate's back there fucking standing next to him, okay? Jimmy Garoppolo's dick just grew 3 inches, all right? And he was already fucking porn stars. Jared, Garoppolo was banging porn stars, okay? If you thought he was doing things before, you wait. Dude, it's going to be the Garoppolo. You know what? Actually, hold on. I got to hop in our fantasy league. I got to grab Garoppolo.
Has CMC been hurt this year at all?
No, because
Are
you kidding me? He hasn't touched the ball, Jared.
Wow.
Maker Bayfield has been bouncing him at the fucking offensive line. No, CMC is fresh as a brand new daisy. He's fine.
Well, because that was my thing is how much are they going to get out of him because he's beat up every year, and so if they try to use him more so as the bell cow,
Jesus Christ!
with the Niners, man,
Jared,
I don't know.
No, let me help you out here. Hold on. Channel your inner Duracell, Copper Top. Listen to me right now when I tell you this. CMC, okay? He's a Stanford boy, all right? He's a Southern Cal, fucking Napa Valley. He drinks probably fucking white wine. Fucking white wine, chilled. It's going to be the Christian McCaffrey show, okay? All right? Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. The Niners are going to roll into the Super Bowl this year, unlike any team you've ever seen before in your life. They're going to have to go through Tom Brady in the NFC Championship, but they're going to do it.
So speaking of that, did you see the compensation that they got?
Carolina? The draft picks?
Yeah. Looking at Ian Rappaport's tweet, he said the full terms, Panthers get a 2nd-round pick in 23, a 3rd-rounder in 23, and a 4th round in 23, plus a 5th-rounder in 24 from sending him over to San Fran. Like
I see that.
That's a pretty big haul. Do you think they got enough?
Do you know what I have to say about that?
I mean, obviously San Fran's they're not complaining about it. But do you think Carolina?
Yeah, you're right.
Happy with it?
They're not complaining about it. Do you know why they're not complaining about it?
Because
they saw what they saw what the Browns gave to Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans to get his ass in town. That's why they're not complaining about it. Are you kidding me?
What's his contract status? Is he at the end of an extension or what? I don't even know because I'm wondering if they would have McCaffrey.
I don't even know what that. unless he's a free agent at the end of the year, I don't think it fucking matters.
Well, no, because I was wondering if he was close to the end of that, they'd just be able to offer him a new deal at the end of the year anyway. Where if
No,
he was into a new deal already, then they would have to pick that up. Like I wasn't sure if Carolina was on the hook for anything as far as financials.
no, he's sticking around, unless you're offering like 3 boxes of trefoils from the fucking Girl Scouts. I don't really think it matters, to be totally honest.
I mean,
Listen,
I don't think they're going to complain.
homeboy went to school there. He might be married. He might not. It's not for me to say. But he's probably got like 6 or 7 baby mamas in the Bay Area anyway.
Well, if he doesn't, he will.
That's right. If he doesn't, he will. Spitters are quitters.
It's true.
Don't be a quitter, Jared.
All right. Well, we'll dig more into that in a little bit, but let's jump around a little bit. Seems like there's an awful clanging around. I'm assuming 1800 again.
Official sponsor.
Yeah. One of these days. It sure seemed like there was an awful lot of injuries again this week. It looks like Cameron Brate got yet another concussion 2 weeks in a row or 3 weeks in a row.
The only thing I've seen him do in the past 12 years is catch a fucking Lombardi trophy from Tom Brady on a boat after they won a Super Bowl.
It's true. What was it? Skylar Thompson, I think. He's now out. So now the Dolphins that were originally the weapon to be reckoned with are now a dumpster and a disaster. Just what's that? Revert to the mean. They're kind of right back where they're at now. I guess Tua's supposed to start this week, but they're doing the quarterback carousel.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, after tonight, I don't even give a goddamn because Andy Dalton could throw like 18 passes to Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and they could each put up 800 yards of total offense at this point. You could put a potato named Andy in the fucking quarterback position at Miami right now, and they would still score 28 points.
You couldn't do that. Let's be honest. You watch the game. Andy Dalton, there's no way he's hitting anybody in a teal uniform. He'd be hitting the opposing uniform left and right. I mean, let's be honest. He threw 3 picks and 2 pick sixes in less than 2 minutes.
Chris Olave might have something to say about that. He might, although Taysom Hill did throw a pretty good pass today too. But
yeah. Going to the AFC North, the Steelers just keep getting worse. You had Trubisky was a dumpster. They took him, pulled him, put Kenny Pickett in there. He's the next coming. He gets knocked out with a concussion. They put Trubisky back in. It seems like this is just going to be another quarterback carousel for them. They're not going anywhere, which I'm sure you're perfectly fine with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of teams that just don't have anything solidified yet with all these injuries. Teams just don't have the depth. I mean, I can obviously, unfortunately, speak to that up in Green Bay. That's just receivers dropping left and right, and they had mediocre receivers to begin with. So I don't know. Seems like there's an awful lot of injuries going around. Definitely doesn't help our fantasy rosters, that's for sure. We're digging through guys I've never heard of at this point, but we'll dig into that. Bills Chiefs. That I put online. It looks like it's the second coming of Brady Manning with that rivalry. They're on a collision path, obviously. I think at this point to meet up again in the postseason yet again this year. Through 6 weeks, I don't know. Your thoughts? That's got to be the best game.
Makes for good TV.
We've seen yet. I mean, yeah, I'm scoring left and right. That's what they want. I mean, it's high scoring, back and forth. Definitely a lot of drama. And the fact of how last year ended, I mean, I don't know that there's too many other rivalries that are going to get created that's going to last, year after year, because they're both, Allen and Mahomes are both young. They both have phenomenal teams right now. It looks like they're going to be a good rivalry for a while at least.
It's fun to watch. Mahomes is flash. He's got the commercials and everything. Josh Allen, nobody knew about him coming out. Drafting out of college, I guess. But he's got the weapons. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It'll be good to watch.
So I know the one thing we kind of talked about, and we wanted to make sure to touch on it again, and we'll cover this again, in a couple minutes here. But the referees, again, with these bullshit roughing the passer calls, blown calls. We both, as soon as we saw it, we both said we're going to discuss this. That bullshit tripping non-trip call. Like,
yeah.
What the hell was that? Like, I don't understand how that's blatantly missed, especially when there's a ref 5 yards away from it. Like, how does that not get thrown? But then you have You
You're
have
calling
people like
every other thing.
exactly
If you look at a quarterback the wrong way, you're getting 15 yards.
like if you just run
Yet when
by
you
in the
trip
breeze
him, you kick your leg out to his shins.
on
You
purpose.
did a maneuver that would be deemed illegal in 90% of martial arts tournaments
Well, the
because
funny
you
thing is that
ah,
that
shit.
whole him leaning one direction and his foot going the opposite direction reminded me eerily of a certain former, and I know you'll know where I'm going, a former Detroit Lion player who leaned one way, stomped on an offensive lineman, and said he was trying to catch his balance. Like, no, you're leaning the opposite way. You're not catching your balance.
Listen,
That
bitch.
reminded that
You
reminded me
stepped
of
on the
that.
man's head. You stepped on the man's exactly. Ndamukong Suh's a piece of shit. I'll say it right now. I don't give a fuck who you are, where you are. You're probably living in a fucking nursing home right now. Yeah, Ndamukong Suh's a piece of shit. I don't give a. I hate him. That's
You're
a
not. Trust me,
B.
you're not alone. You're not
You're
alone.
sitting there. You're putting your leg out. You're trying to trip a quarterback who you would not have tackled. There's no way Josh Allen was going down
No,
unless
that's
he's
the reason
getting
he did it.
kicked in the fucking legs.
That was a last resort because he knew he couldn't reach him with his hands, so he just tripped him. But with all this emphasis on quarterback roughing the passer, player safety, and you got a
Mhm.
ref 5 yards away, how's that not thrown? But then you got guys basically tucking people into bed and giving them milk and cookies, and they're throwing flags left and right. Like the inconsistency is the most irritating thing right now. Like if you're gonna throw a flag, throw it all the fucking time, or don't throw it at all. Like I just
Yeah.
don't get it. There's
Chris
no
Jones knew what he was doing. He kicked his leg out. He tried to trip Josh Allen. He did. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because the Bills
no.
won.
However, that would have been a bigger story had that been a final
Josiah,
drive. And that,
praise.
if that was a final drive and that's how the game ended and the Bills got screwed yet again, you'd
Hmm.
never hear the end of this. Like
Right.
it was another bullshit blown call that dictated the ending of the game.
Yeah.
It's there's no room for it in the game. Take that shit out and let the guys play, or throw flags on everything.
You know what?
Pick a stance.
Let's roll back. Let's roll back to the 80s because it was so
Yeah,
much more fun watching. You know what? Here's the thing, and I'm speaking as a healthcare professional right now. So job security is of the utmost.
we just need Ed Hockley out there with those pythons.
CTE is great. We know about it. You know what? Let it
No,
be.
let's
Let
back up.
it
It's not
be.
great.
Let it be. Let's invoke the fucking Beatles on this one. Let it be. You're gonna hit people. I don't give a good goddamn. I just want to watch some goddamn football. I don't like this pussified fucking LBGQTIA fucking 31 plus favor bullshit. I want people to hit each other. I like my football like I like my football. Fucking American.
Well, and here's the thing: if you're gonna do this crap, then just take the helmets and shoulder pads out and put flags on. Like
Or
if
as
you're
my
gonna,
dad says, take the face masks off
yeah.
because that'll separate the fucking men from the fucking girls.
Well, if you're gonna
Or
make
are
the,
those even a thing anymore? I don't even know. We've got so many goddamn genders. Who knows what the fuck's what anymore, right? Am I right?
it's true.
Holy shit.
Well, the thing is, if you're gonna try to make it safe to the point where no one's allowed to tap or tackle anybody, then just get rid of all the pads because they don't serve any purpose except for slowing guys down. So let's see Tyreek Hill running gym shorts. He's going to be a hell of a lot faster than he is weighing, with all that useless equipment that you're not allowed to use anyway. So just
That's
take it
right.
all out of the game. I
Unless he's at the
guarantee,
Pro Bowl when he's
I,
racing
I,
Nick Chubb and Micah Parsons because otherwise he's fucking soft.
I can guarantee you, if you put guys one on one across from each other, one of two things are going to happen. Guys that aren't named James Harrison or
Didn't stay.
Dominican Sue, they're not going head to head. Now those guys, they're probably still going to headhunt because they're crazy bastards. But Perfect, he'd probably be another one.
Oh, just perfect was a motherfucker.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. Pick a stance and stick with it. Quit doing all this. You throw a ton of flags one week and then you don't flag the most obvious stuff. It's irritating.
I don't want to bring politics into it, but
Yeah. Moving on, Cooper Rush, his undefeated reign finally fell. That was another decent game, and I hate both those teams. I can't stand Dallas, and I hate Philly, but that was a fun game to watch. But the Eagles still look like the toughest team right now. Now we'll see what happens in San Fran. That could be a nice shot in the arm, and they could run the table here, the rest of the season. But right now, that Philadelphia D is unbelievable. Like the offense is pretty good too, but that defense is nasty. Like. I don't see how anyone in that division specifically is going to challenge them. Like the Commanders sure aren't. The Giants, I think they've gotten lucky a lot. I don't think they stand up to what their record is. And the Cowboys are the Cowboys.
I see what you're trying to do here, Jared. And I'm going to say that going into week 7, I'm not going to lie, it's working. I've become a Giants fan. I now see the error of my ways. In the hierarchy of the NFC,
This isn't
it
an
goes
intervention.
Niners, Buccaneers, New York Football Giants in the field. Do I think the Giants might make a push to knock one of my top 2 picks from the NFC Championship out? Yes. I think the Giants might actually do it. You've Jedi mind tricked me into thinking that Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley,
And that's
Wandale or Quandale or whatever the fuck is Robinson. I think the Giants might actually have a shot at the 2023
We'll see. It's
NFL
early.
Championship. Yeah.
It's early. We'll see.
No. You've done it. You've done it. I've got the tinfoil hat on. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. The Giants are number 3 in my hierarchy of NFC teams.
I'm glad I could change your mind on that one somehow.
You've done it. You've tricked me.
So moving on, we kind of already touched base with all the BS referee calls, but getting to the Thursday night games, we just watched Cardinals and the Saints. But last week, how many times do we have to see Denver in primetime? Why do we have to suffer? They suck. Why do we have to keep watching them? I don't want to watch this on repeat. It's horrible. Every single week they're on. It's horrible.
I don't care as long as Thursday night. I'm fine with Thursday night games as long as
don't put Denver on it.
No. All I want on Thursday night is Denver and Russell Wilson. I want them to become like the Roseanne of the NFL. I want that comfort zone where I get to see nature's whitest black man quarterback, fucking Russell Wilson. I want to watch him play every Thursday night. I don't care who they're playing. I don't give a shit. I want to watch Russell Wilson every Thursday night. I want him in primetime. I want him etched in stone.
Hard pass.
Nope.
Hard pass.
Nope. I'm in. I'm all in.
That's because you're a Browns fan. You're used to seeing field goals and only field goals. Like, that's boring.
Listen, Cade York could kick it from my house to Cleveland in zero effort whatsoever. That little son of a bitch. But that's neither here nor there. Russell Wilson, Thursday night, 8:20, or whatever the hell the time the game is. I don't give a shit. I want Russell Wilson every Thursday night. I want that to be part of my weekly routine.
So since we're talking about Denver, let me just throw this out there. How is it virtually possible that Denver is such a bad team as a whole? Their offense is horrible. The running backs, they have no clue what they're doing. It looks like Latavius Murray off the street's going to be your number 1 running back now. You have
pay here.
You have receivers who, let's be honest, a quarterback can't get the ball to them if he tried. Yet somehow they have like a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
And that's what's keeping them in the games. But yet the team is so bad. I don't know that I remember seeing a team that had that good of a defense and they were so bad as a whole. Like that's not typical. I mean,
I don't remember who I picked for the AFC when we started this.
Well, did you see the stat?
17-week hell ride.
Did you see the stat for the penalty yardage? Did you see that for Denver?
Probably not, because 1800 was calling.
Possible. They set a Monday Night Football record for the most penalty yards at 151. 151 yards of penalty yards. Like, they had more penalty yards, or they had more penalties than they did points. And they started tracking it. It's been 22 years ago that they started tracking this. So in 22 years, they managed to set the penalty record. And yet we have to continually watch this crap every single week with them, it seems like. Like, quit putting them on prime time. The only reason you're doing it is because of Russell Wilson. If that was Drew Lock, they wouldn't be on TV. Nobody cares. But I just... man, I don't know. Something's got to give there because that thing is a disaster. I'm over it. Well, let's dig into some of the breaking news that's kind of been over the last week, couple days. We kind of got into Carolina is a dumpster. We've established that. Unfortunately, DJ Moore is the last man standing next to the midget that is Baker Mayfield.
I love it.
Robbie Anderson explodes and probably explaining to the head coach how bad the team sucks. So he's shipped on the first plane out of Carolina, and he starts tonight.
To the other sawed-off quarterback from Oklahoma.
Yeah, I don't know who's taller, him or Baker. He might have just increased an inch. I don't know. But I think he's got at least somewhat more promising future with Kyler, because even though they might be the same size, Kyler has way more talent in his one toe than Baker does in his entire body. Like, that is what it is. As if the Commanders, let's move on to the Commanders, as if the Commanders weren't bad enough. Carson Wentz is out 4 to 6 weeks with a broken finger, so we got Heineke starting again, so that should go well. If anything, it's a boost for them, that's for sure.
Likes me some Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, Hopkins just came back. His first game was tonight.
Nuke.
He kind of looked. He looked pretty good.
He looked real good, especially when he wasn't getting raped by the defensive backs who were tackling him because they couldn't hold him.
Yeah, that's not a flag these days. He's not a quarterback. It doesn't count. Moving on with some more injuries, just for me personally, it looks like Randall Cobb is going to be out for maybe 2 to 4, I think maybe 4 to 6, somewhere in there, weeks. It's not a broken ankle, but it's a sprain, so that works wonders with, Cobb can't stay healthy. Watkins is already coming back off the IR. We already don't have any receivers, so that should go well. Hollywood Brown, which is why Robbie Anderson went out to Arizona, is out. I don't know if they said indefinitely or if they had a time frame. I don't think is it a broken foot or an ankle? I don't remember. It's a foot injury though, so he's out. You got Deshaun Jackson resurfacing from the dead, going back to Baltimore, 35, so that should work out well. And then we already discussed the most recent tonight breaking news with CMC heading over to San Fran for a crap load of picks. Yeah, seems like there's a lot of movement recently this past few days right before the trade deadline. A lot of teams making that last push to get some talent in the doors. Is there any guys that you see potentially also that could be on the move? I know everyone keeps saying DJ Moore, but I guess the Panthers have said that that's one guy they're not willing to part with, which I find it hard to believe because they're basically stripping the whole team. Why not burn it down?
Yeah, everybody's wondering where Cam Akers is going to go.
Jesus True, Christ. I forgot about him. Have they made any talks? I just saw that they were trying to find a trade, but I haven't heard anything more on him.
I don't know. I hear Carolina's looking for a running back.
It's potential. They're looking for a running back, a few receivers, a quarterback, a coach, a coordinator.
Carolina should talk to. I don't even know if he's still there, but I'm just going to put it out there. The Miami Dolphins. They should see if their quarterback's coach, University of Akron alum, Charlie Fry, is available, because something tells me that it would be an upgrade over number 6.
Man, that's a deep dig there. Yeah. I don't think too many people remember that name, except from this area.
I'll never forget him. The pride of Willard, Ohio. The Senior Bowl MVP, number 9 for your Cleveland Browns.
Was that the height of his career, the Senior Bowl?
Probably. He's no worse than Baker Mayfield. One of them has a Heisman Trophy.
That's a slap in the face there. That's just a downgrade. Did you happen to see, not to change the subject, but did you happen to see the picture floating around on social media or whatever about the thermometers in the Vikings game? Did you see that?
Nope.
Holy crap, that's interesting. So I got a picture here, and it shows the thermometer on the Vikings sideline, and they're playing in Miami. And then side by side, a picture of the thermometer on the Dolphins sideline.
Pull it up on the screen so Jamie can do something here.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Jamie, throw it up on the screen there for our guests.
Yeah, we'll see. If you can see what I'm looking at right now since it's a visual. It shows 90 degrees on the Dolphins sideline and 120 on the Vikings sideline. Like, that's a 30 degree difference. That's pretty intense. Starting to get seasick over there. What are you doing? I don't know how teams from, they were discussing this on McAfee with Rogers about playing in warm weather teams, warm weather cities. And they were talking to him and AJ about, playing in Wisconsin, playing in Minnesota, playing in Detroit and Chicago, Midwest. How the heck do you adapt to going down there and playing in places like Jacksonville and Tampa and, Miami, where it's like a 50 degree swing sometimes when you go down there? I don't know. That's pretty intense though. So we can wrap this up here with the studs and duds. So looking at we'll start with the studs. We'll start with a high point here.
Hit it.
We got the options: Jamar Chase, Ramondre Stevenson, Stephon Diggs, Brandon Ayuk. I obviously went with Jamar Chase. Stephon Diggs, we've seen him have a big day. Stevenson, he had a pretty decent day. Ayuk was okay. I mean, Jamar Chase was pretty damn impressive. That was intense. Now, granted,
When your starting quarterback rolls into the stadium wearing your national championship college
I saw that
football jersey, what are you going to do? Let him down?
Do you think it's because that's what Chase gave him to wear? Because I know there were rumors out there that Chase buys all of Burrow's clothes, so maybe that's all he had in the wardrobe that day was Chase's jersey.
You're finna hit a lawsuit. I love Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had him on my fantasy roster. That definitely would do a lot more.
God, I wish I did.
Than where I'm at.
Nope, he's mine.
Yeah.
Keeper, baby.
Yeah. Looking at switching to the other sides, the dumpsters, the fantasy duds of the week. You got Jacksonville, Cleveland defenses, Robbie Anderson and Melvin Gordon. For me, it was pretty easy. Robbie Anderson played with Carolina, so that's an automatic rule out. Melvin Gordon had 3 carries, and then he had to take a breather because the coach thought he was tired. So, I mean, that was obvious. I ended up going up with Cleveland's defense, and I just kind of narrowed it down with Jacksonville is Jacksonville. Like they're not great, but
God, they gave up so many points. Jacksonville gave up like 34 points to the Colts.
It's true, but I went with the fact of Cleveland's defense is their bread and butter. That's their staple. Like their team is built on defense, and for them to get blown out by Zappy and the Patriots, like that was bad. So that's kind of how I narrowed that down.
I think a strong case could be made for Robbie Anderson. The dude looks like Coolio. He plays like Sideshow Bob. He bitches and pisses and moans. And then he gets dealt to the Cardinals.
I mean, do you blame him, though? Look at what he's playing with. He's playing on a dumpster team. Now, granted, he also came from the Jets, so he went from one dumpster to another.
Listen, Jets, Panthers, the Cardinals aren't even going to whiff the playoffs. They got that cancer on their team called Robbie Anderson. He looks like a struck match. He's a hot disaster.
I'll put it this way. He's in a better situation. The team, I don't know if they're in a better situation. He just went from the dumpster in Carolina out to at least a winning record. Like, Carolina might not even win another game this year.
It's all bad.
It's not good.
They're all trash. All 4 solid options.
Well, yeah, you almost kind of have to, like, when you go to do politics, who do you hate the least? And that's who you vote for. Like, that's kind of what I felt like at this point. So we can finish this up here. We're recording this on Thursday. The Saints and Cardinals game just ended. We can throw a few thoughts out here. Andy Dalton sucks, right? Like, he's not
so bad. No.
The fact that you throw 3 picks and 2 pick sixes.
2 of them were pick sixes.
Yeah, in under 2 minutes. And right before half. Like, I texted you earlier. I was like, well, if you get your parlays in, go ahead and throw another bet down on another pick 6 because it seems like he's hot for them. They're coming left and right. Now, granted, I know that a couple of them, bounced off of some players, whatever, but come on. You literally threw 2 of them right into the hands of the guy, back-to-back plays. I don't know. I will say, though, that's what won them the game, hands down. When you look at the final score, 42-34, those 14 points, that cost you the game. And it was kind of interesting to see how they went right down the field first series, and it looked like it was going to be a pretty heavy Saints game. And then all of a sudden, Andy Dalton decided to show up, and it was just all Cardinals. And I don't know. I didn't even see like too many blown calls in that game that I can think of offhand. So it's not like it was on the refs. I don't know. I think it was all.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was all in the arm of Dalton. I will say, Kamara had some decent runs. That was nice to see. He's been kind of quiet for a while, and Olave still continues to impress. Hopkins, he's there a little bit longer and gets some more work in with Kyler. He's going to be the same Hopkins he's always been.
No, Olave looked really good.
Go ahead.
Alvin Kamara's Alvin Kamara. He's fantastic.
Go ahead. I know you're just waiting. Go ahead and let it go.
It'd be a shame if let's say just for sake of fantasy, if somebody owned the number 1 running back for the Arizona Cardinals, tonight's little tilt.
Well, let's back up.
He was the number 1.
He was the number 1 for tonight because other guys are out. He's not the number 1 starting running back at the beginning of the season. Let's just put that.
It's not to say he shouldn't be because like James Conner, he's a great story. He beat cancer. He's fucking he's great. However, Benjamin runs hard, plays hard, scores hard. It would be a shame if say somebody who owned him in the fantasy realm was narrow-minded enough to bench him. So
Yeah,
like,
they're probably.
which is like 20 some points.
Well, I mean, it would be
Hmm.
understandable because that's the
No,
same
no
typical
one,
thing.
no one,
Hey, no, if you know
no.
the person, that's pretty typical. It's par for the course.
You know what I would do in this event, George Costanza? I would do the opposite of what you think you're going to do. Follow your gut and do the opposite.
Well,
If your gut's telling you to bench Eno Benjamin, maybe I'd start him and he'd get 20 some points.
well, when you look at it from my perspective, when I wasted the number 12 pick overall on Jonathan Taylor, I expected to
Yeah,
get
that's pretty
some
bad.
number 12 overall pick production out of it. I wasn't expecting a third string at the time, Eno Benjamin, to have way more production in 1 week than the number 12 overall pick has had all season. So when I saw he was coming back, my initial response was, do I even bother putting him in the roster because he hasn't been trusted? I can't trust him. He's not been trustworthy up until this point. So do I even take a chance on him? Or I've seen firsthand how bad Green Bay's defense is. Brees Hall had a career day on them last week. Do I just go ahead and ride the hot hand and play Robinson? Because then Robinson's going to have a nice game because their defense blows.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and started that. And then
Robinson will finish with 48 yards of offense, no touchdowns.
Probably.
You're going to get 4.8 out of Robinson.
There's a good chance he might not even get on the field with my luck.
Yeah.
But then you have Brees Hall, who's just been playing out of his mind the last few weeks. Granted, it was against Green Bay's defense. So it's up to Eno against a decent Saints defense, or Brees Hall, who turns out to be a pretty good stud against a pretty good Denver defense. I decided to take my chances with Hall and Robinson. Clearly, that didn't work out.
The second I saw that Connor was out, man, I jumped in an ESPN league, which I hate ESPN. I threw Eno Benjamin in there. Bam, baby.
Now,
Magic.
I will say this. In my defense, there's a chance, even with 20-some points on my bench, given the fact of who my opponent is, and you know him well, I could still win, even with Eno on my bench. And I could probably even bench a kicker, a defense, and maybe a tight end, and still pull out a win.
It's possible.
Given the fact that the manager I'm playing didn't realize he had 5 guys in his starting lineup on a bye until, I don't know, 4 hours ago.
I like your odds on this one.
So I felt like even if I screwed up, I still had good odds. All right. Well, do you have anything else? So we'll go ahead and wrap this one up.
I don't know. Other than what I showed you before, with the exception of tonight, always take the under on Thursday nights.
I will say I was going to bet the under, and then at the last second I didn't. And then when I look at it, I was like, well, it's a good thing I didn't, because I would have got screwed on that one. We'll wrap this episode up. Do all that good stuff. Download, rate, subscribe, review. Interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, 5thQ, 5THQ Sportscast.
MySpace.
MySpace. Any others you want to throw out? The AOL Instant Messenger. Yeah,
Check out my latest Vine videos.
Yeah.
At Baker Mayfield, Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, we could tell that's definitely one of yours. But yeah, until next week, go watch some football. Hopefully you enjoy something. I don't know what it would be, but hopefully have some fun watching some games. And then until then, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Keep your tits dry.